flattered by your invitation. This place is actually quite peaceful. Perfect for a little solitary research. It's nice. Thanks for asking. Huh. Being hard to please is simply the mark of a lady's expectations and elevated taste. It doesn't mean she's incapable of adjusting. Take this place, for example. Not a chair in sight, always raining, and the roof leaks. But you don't hear me complaining. Of course, if I do start complaining, no matter how unpleasant my words, it'll all be entirely your fault. I wouldn't use the word recommendations per se. But if you're really interested, I can share some reference points from my former home. As for the interior, there's not much to say. But a warm fire in the hearth would make this place feel cozy all year round. If we're talking outdoors, I used to arrange my garden according to each plant's characteristics. Which flowers bloom in spring, which trees bear fruit in autumn, making sure the fragrance of one flower doesn't overpower another. There's an art to it. It's simple once you learn the rules. I can teach you, if you'd like. Anyway, under my care, the garden would change with the passing seasons. I was very proud of what I achieved, and it used to make Alain happy too. Now that I think about it, I should really find the time to go back and tidy the whole place up. That goes without saying. Anyway, under my care, the garden would change with the passing seasons. Do you mind if I vent about my colleagues? Fantastic! I've always dreamed of a secluded place where I can rant about all the nonsense I have to deal with at work. Ugh, don't even get me started on Dottore. I want him out of my life forever. And everyone else's. The Rooster and Regrator might not get along, but their evasive rhetoric and manipulation feel like it comes from the exact same playbook. First, they pretend to agree with your ideas. Then they'll say something that implies, "Of course, you clearly don't mind all the issues this'll cause." And then they just wait for you to back down. But if you don't back down, that's when they pull out the big guns. Long, complicated arguments that no one understands, filled with technical terminology and archaic phrases. Then, once they finish spouting nonsense, they'll ask, "So what do you think?" What do I think about what? If you want to show off your vocabulary, why not just hold a spelling bee? I'd rather spend my time actually getting somewhere. Ugh, it makes me angry just talking about them! Forget it. I'm well aware that the principles that govern the real world are not always as clean-cut and absolute as mathematical theorems. It's only thanks to the Rooster's wily ways that so many competing interests can be reconciled. Regrator might well be full of wicked schemes, but there's no denying his ability to manage Snezhnaya's economy and oversee the Adventurers Guild. Huh? I wasn't trying to be nice. Just because I can recognize an objective fact doesn't mean I can't also hate it. How about we save it for next time? Berating two people in one day is enough for me. It's important to learn restraint, even when venting. Do you have any fluffy animals around here? Cats, dogs, foxes? I'm not picky. I'll even take sheep in a pinch. Most importantly, though, do they listen to you? I just want something to cuddle. Don't worry, I won't run off with your pets. Now you're making fun of me. Didn't I tell you? Wild animals usually don't like getting close to me. They have their own complex sensory systems. I can't win them over just by adjusting my temperature module or tweaking my smile. And trust me, I've tried. But even a genius of my standing can't find a way. So the easiest solution is to find someone they trust and then have them gently assure the animals that I'm a good person who won't hurt them. Exactly. But Nefer's always looking to discuss this and negotiate that. Dropping by occasionally is fine, but it's too much effort to constantly focus on her conversation. Well, now you've really opened a can of very angry worms. One day, I was going to see Catherine in Nosha Town for a little business, when a rhyme-horned deer suddenly ran out of nowhere and started nudging me. The fur on its neck was very soft and warm, and its antlers felt quite novel to the touch. But when I turned around, I caught Columbina watching me with a smile. Sandrone, all the little animals are hiding from you. You look so pitiful. I told them you aren't a bad person, that you're actually quite gentle, and that you go to sleep hugging. I'm not telling you the rest. The point is, who's she calling pitiful? I don't need little animals for company. She told them secrets about me. It's a total violation. Stop changing the subject. Do you have any fluffy animals or not? Yes, but Lauma seldom leaves the Frost Moon Enclave. As a FIFINE Harbinger, I'm not exactly a welcome sight around there. It wouldn't do to keep parading myself up and down in front of them. Put your mind at ease and get some rest. Whatever you're working on can wait till tomorrow. I suppose it's only ladylike to respond. But don't you think you're a little... too full of energy this morning?
What do you mean by that?
There used to be so many flowers and plants where Alain and I lived before. He wasn't much of a gardener, so the job of tending the garden fell to me. It was a pleasant task, and one I turned out to be quite good at. He seemed to see something different in the colors of the plants, and it made me happy to see him smile. Oh, you've prepared a place for me to hold my tea parties. What can I say but to thank you for your enthusiasm? Fetch my finest loose leaves, Faggio. It's time for a spot of tea. What's wrong with calling me Sandrone? Huh? My original name? So you really want to know. All right. I can still remember when I first opened my eyes. Alain had just finished creating me. He called me Marionette. I tried to repeat it, to say it out loud myself, but I noticed something complicated in his expression. Only later did I come to understand what it was. A mixture of regret and guilt. He never called me that again. Anyway, after telling me the story of the Narcitzenkreuz Ordo and his sister, Alain concluded by insisting that I was free to choose my own path in life. An important part of that, he said, was deciding on my own name. For my part, I told him I was perfectly fine with the one he'd given me. Marionette Guillotin. Pretty unique as names go, wouldn't you say? And yet, no doubt for different reasons, the Tsaritsa ended up making Marionette my title as a Harbinger. Perhaps that was simply another so-called act of fate. When I was first created, it seemed like too much work to find a place to lie down. So I usually just slept in a chair. It was only after I arrived in Snezhnaya that I grew accustomed to sleeping in beds. I have to say, after an exhausting day of dealing with my colleagues, wearing something comfortable and hiding beneath the covers is wonderfully cozy. There's a sense of security created by my sensory system and emotional circuitry. I don't know why people like to sleep in. However, beds come with their own issues. My clockwork key prevents me from sleeping on my back, and it's difficult to balance when lying on my side. The only option is to sleep face down.
I don't sing for anyone in particular.
We may know each other better now, but once we arrive in Snezhnaya, we still have to follow the rules. After all, you've been fighting the Fatui since you arrived. Who knows what kind of a stir you'll cause over there? Naturally, I'll try my best not to make your life difficult. I'd appreciate it if you could do the same for me. Helping each other out based on mutual understanding. That's what companions do, right? It's a good fit for me. Cryo is useful. For instance, I no longer need to worry about overheating after lengthy calculations. That great shaman seems nice. Is she really very old? Still seems like she's got plenty of energy to me. Though she does get a little too worked up sometimes. What do I mean? Oh, well, recently I was talking to her about you and me going underwater to look for something. And before that, I told her you were in Nodcry helping Columbina get her name back. She got so animated her face turned bright red. I wonder if it has something to do with her age. I don't know how she does it. That cat girl always seems to find the weakest spot in every machine and then... bleh, broken. I wish her brother would have a word with her. Never mind. I guess it's a talent, really. Maybe I should have her help me stress test my future creations. If my machines can't survive her curiosity, what chance do they have in battle? After Alain died, I put up a tombstone for him. When he was alive, he said he wanted me to write his epitaph. So I did. It wasn't difficult. List out his deeds, then pick a quote that captures the way he thought. I went with, "Regrettably, there's nothing more to say." It was something he often said. You think it sounds fatalistic. Maybe to those who didn't know him. But he always said it with a smile. It wasn't resignation. He wasn't giving up. Ironically, it was almost like an expression of contentment. Like solving a mathematical problem. Death is just a silent equal sign, and he's moved to the other side of the equation. Even I still get bothered by the errors in my heart. But Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa? How did she manage to freeze her emotions so completely? Always issuing orders. Somehow, the world reflected in his eyes seems farther away than it does with anyone else. The first time I saw him, I knew this world had taken too much from him. Everyone knows Il Capitano doesn't like to remove his mask. But it doesn't stop him from finishing his tea whenever we get together. You might want to cover your ears. I'm afraid I won't be able to control my emotions. Arlecchino is a woman of her word. She acts decisively, and you can trust her to get things done. Purely from a professional standpoint, it would be nice if all my colleagues could try to emulate her. He's the chairman of the Snezhnograd Veche, though he often feels more like it's overseer. Every vote cast in the Evaluation Council affects the interest of countless factions. Reconciling so many competing concerns can only be achieved by the shrewdest of operators. Once you understand this, you start to realize just how terrifying he really is. You would think his relationship and dealings with Dottore would have been properly investigated from the start, right? Why did it take 10 times longer for my research funds to be granted than that lunatic Dottore's? It's clear there was something shady going on. I even asked Pantalone about it to his face. He looked right at me with that stupid smile and said, "Oh my, has Our Lady Sandrone finally developed an interest in finances? I can recommend a few books if you'd like. Maybe you should start with 100 phrases to teach you manners. She always lived for herself. She loved in her own way, and hated in her own way too. No wonder she burned out so fast. Still, her flame shone with a unique hue until the moment it flickered into nothing. Oh, another pain in the... well, everything. He could happily just spend his days with his brothers and sisters. Why insist on becoming a harbinger at all? And when will he get it into his thick skull that not everyone is always looking for a fight? Columbina used to drive me up the wall. To be honest, she still does. I thought life would be quieter without her around. Who knew I'd find myself getting more annoyed when she wasn't here? Ugh, it's infuriating! She's living such a happy life right now. Her family and friends are by her side, and she gets to go traveling whenever she's free. Why can't I have that kind of fortune? Oh, forget it. I'm not jealous. We all know she deserves to be happy. I'm not in the habit of casually sharing my life story with others. But if I'm going to open up, can we at least wait for pleasant weather and to do it over tea and cake? My colleagues in the Fatui might not be the ones I'd choose, but there's no denying that it's an excellent place to conduct research. The Tsaritsa is generous with her resources and funding. I'd say the equation balances out in my favor. It never bothered me that Alain created me to look like his sister Marianne, or that he named me Marionette. The way I see it, these are simply the consequences of my birth. Does it bother you to look like your parents, or to bear their family name? I like mathematics. A world built on formulae and logic has a kind of elegance anchored in certainty. I also like music, which is similar in many ways. I used to think playing music should be approached like a mathematical problem, balancing the notes and the beat, no space for deviation. Later, I came to realize that some minor flaws, even mistakes during a performance, can actually make the music more beautiful. A slight pause here, a sudden improvisation there. Such tiny errors are where emotion is born. Reverberations of the performer's heart, you might say. What the world gives, the world will take away. To live is to gain and to lose. To pick up what the world can't seize. To hold onto it amid loss and farewells. And to keep walking forward. If a person desires merely to live, is that too insignificant a wish? Just like someone saving the world solely to save themselves. Is such a reason too simple? To live, to feel, to witness. And then one day, perhaps those things the world cannot take away will grow numerous enough to shake it to its core. Deconstructing the very order of things. Bet you're impressed with me now. Thanks to this body, I don't suffer from allergies or indigestion. So food is purely a matter of pleasure for me. But if I had to choose, I think I like small dainty pastries most of all. Just looking at their exquisite shape brings joy to my heart. It's a 1-2 punch for the eyes and soul. I don't like greasy, spicy food. It's got nothing to do with taste. It's just hard to keep the smell from clinging to my clothes. It's very inelegant for a lady.
For the view.
I'll do you a favor and listen to how you prepared this. Perhaps I can give you a few pointers? It would be unladylike to let the opportunity go to waste. Oh? That's not half bad. I'll have to return the favor next time we get together for tea. Ugh. Fagio, I have something for you to clean up. Here, take this. I wouldn't normally give these out, but today's a special day. It marks the day you came into the world. I invited Arlecchino and Columbina, plus a few shared friends. I even baked a special cake for the occasion, so you'd best look forward to it.
感谢邀请。这地方倒是挺清静的，刚好适合一个人做点研究。你这儿有毛茸茸的小动物吗？猫、狗、狐狸，羊也行，我不挑。最重要的是，它们能听你话吗？借我揉一下就还给你。别学我口气，跟你说过的吧，野外的那些动物不算亲近我，它们有一套独立又复杂的感觉系统，那戒心不是我调温度模块或者笑容曲线就能改变的。直说吧，我已经试过很多次了，但天才如我都没辙。最便捷的方法，反倒是找一个能让他们感到信赖的人，再轻声细语地告诉小动物，我是个不会伤害他们的好人。是，但拉乌玛很少离开双月之风。我这位讨人厌的愚人众执行官，一天到晚大摇大摆地出现在他们的居所，也不妥当吧？说到这个我就来气。有天我去找纳夏镇的凯瑟琳办事，一只不知道从哪里来的菱角鹿突然跑过来拱我，那脖子上的毛皮确实柔软又暖和，鹿角摸起来的手感也很新奇。结果一回头，就看到哥伦比亚那家伙笑着在看我。桑多涅，小动物们都躲着你，看起来很可怜。我和他们说了，你不是坏人，反倒很温柔，睡觉时也经常抱着。鬼才告诉你了，重点是谁可怜了，谁需要小动物陪了，还把我的隐私说给他们听，烦死个人了。别说这些有的没的了，你到底戒不戒吧？